Okay, today we're going to talk about force feeding, and usually force feeding we find to happen more so with the older sewing crowd, usually seamstresses that have been sewing for many years, due to the fact that older machines didn't have as a precision feed system as today's machines did, so you always kind of had to help the machine sew. So basically, with new current model machines, you just want to let the machine do the work. Just let the machine do the sewing, and you should just guide the fabric. There's a difference between assisting and force feeding. Force feeding is you'll push or pull back while the machine's sewing. And what this does is whenever you're pulling back or pulling forward while the machine is sewing, it causes the needle to bend either back or forward. And what that'll do is that can cause the needle to strike the hook down inside the machine. And it can either cause a needle break, it can also cause your machine to lose timing, where the needle will no longer meet with the hook properly the way it's supposed to. And what you'll find is whenever your machine's out of timing, your needle will not pick up the bobbin thread from the underneath whenever you go to try to pick up the bobbin thread. Also, your needle could in fact be hitting the machine itself and not going into the hole, or the needle could be hitting the hook inside the machine. So a good rule is just let the machine do the sewing. There's a difference between force feeding and assisting. As you can see, I'm kind of assisting it up and over that hump, and wasn't pulling it through. That's something you certainly don't want to do. So like for example, I have a hump here, and I just kind of guide the machine up and over that hump, but I was at no time forcing or pulling back on the material. You should just basically let the machine do the work, and if it can't do it, then don't try to force it to do it, because you could damage the machine. And force feeding is again, we find this with the older crowd that has been sewing for many years, because older machines, you used to have to force the material through the machine because the feeding systems were so poor and weren't precision made. So you'll see your older seamstresses forcing the material through the machine, and there's really no need to do that with today's model machines. Or you'll see people grabbing onto the back and pulling it through. Again, no need to do that. You should just simply guide it through, and the machine should do most of the work. And whenever you force feed on a machine and that causes the machine to lose timing, that usually is not considered a defect in manufacture, and isn't covered under most machine warranties, because it isn't a defect in manufacture. It's actually user inflicted or user caused by force feeding. So again, just let the machine do all the work, and if you need to sew something thick or heavy, again, there's a difference between assisting, like I just did there, and forcing it through. You can assist, do not force, and again, you should just be able to hold on to the material and guide it through. If it's not sewing it properly, you might not be using the proper foot. You might need a walking foot, you might need a roller foot, you might need a quick glide foot or a Teflon foot. You might need some stabilization in your material if it's too light, to give it a little stabilization, some body to the material. But again, assisting, not forcing, is the way to go, and that'll keep your machine running in a top-notch condition. Should you have any questions, please feel free to contact our support team at support@internetsalesusa.com.